Welcome, Whiskey Quaffers. This is Mark from WhiskyWhistle, bringing you Whiskey Review number 40. Thank you for tuning in to all my subscribers. We've passed 100 now, so that's exciting. Heading up towards, hopefully 200 before long. And views were well over 4,000, heading on the way to 5,000 views. So that's pretty exciting for me to see that there is some enthusiasm in WhiskyWhistle. So I will keep on going as long as you keep on watching. Today we're going to be looking at Glenkinchie. Glenkinchie, if you're not aware, is a lowlands single malt, so often referred to as a lowlands single malt Scotch whiskey. And Glenkinchie 12-year-old is included in the classic malts, which is it's a marketing or branding of 6 malts that Diageo puts out, formerly United Distillers before that became Diageo. But anyway, so they're marketed together as a group from to represent the 6 regions of Scotland's distilleries. Anyway, just to cover those one more time, we have Glenkinchie from the Lowlands region, and then in the Highlands region we have Dalwhinnie. The West Highlands region we have Oban. It's written right there on the back of the label. Yes, sorry. And from Speyside we have Cragganmore. From the islands region, we have Talisker from the Isle of Skye. And finally, from the Isle of Islay, we have Lagavulin, which may be the most famous and the most renowned from the group, but they each have their place. And if you haven't tried them all, I think you should set out in this year, 2016, to try each and every one of the classic malts. Okay, well, let's get right into the pouring. I'm going to bring that bottle a little bit closer for you to have a look at. Very cool logo in the middle there, the G and the K. Wonder who came up with that one. This is 43% alcohol by volume, so you're getting a touch more than the regular 40%. In fact, you're getting 7.5% more. A 70 centiliter bottle, or 700 milliliters, and pretty basic, nice wooden cork stopper there. It's a composite cork, which will hopefully mean less breakage, and actually carries quite a bit of fragrance compared to regular corks, I find. Anyway, we'll pour some of that. Yes, that's a nice pour. Probably rate about 30 milliliters. There we are. And color-wise, it's pretty much amber, maybe just a tad below. And well, we're not sure. This may be colored with a little bit of caramel color. Now, don't think of this as a chemical. You take sugar and you put it on the fry pan, you caramelize it, and what color does it turn? It turns into a very dark brown. And well, this is where the color comes from. Anyway, so don't think of this as having a chemical color added. It's food grade and not harmful. Some do think it's harmful to the flavor. It depends on how much is used. If you look at the bottom shelf at a whiskey store or at a liquor store, and you find some of your very basic scotches, your Scotch whiskeys, some of those will have quite a lot of colorant. So much, in fact, that if you after you finish drinking and you put your glass down and you leave it overnight, and you come back to it the next day, you'll see a little brown spot on the bottom there. This one does not do that. Anyway, so color-wise, just slightly below that really heavily shaded whiskey. So that's basically your yellow gold. We'll let that sit just a little while, and we'll have a look at the box here. I'll bring that closer for you, and we'll have a look at the back of it together. Glenkinchie, a dry, refined character born just 20 miles from Scotland's capital, naturally makes Glenkinchie the Edinburgh malt. Its aromatic smoothness brings to mind cut flowers and creamy lemon cheesecake. Crisp and focused with a herbal drying finish, this is an ideal aperitif and partner to smoked fish, sushi, and scallops. It's really interesting having a tasting, a pairing suggestion on the back here. George and John Raitt founded the distillery in 1837. Rebuilt 60 years later, it boasts 2 great copper pot stills, among Scotland's largest. Today, Glenkinchie is just one of 3 distilleries to survive in the lowlands, drawing its water from a source in the Lammermuir Hills and aging its spirit for 12 years in oak casks. Excuse me. Whether it's Glenkinchie amid the rolling barley fields of the south or Talisker on the far sea coast of Skye, each classic malt is true to its origins, distilled in the same way as in the same place as always. Yet this is not enough. Each classic malt is selected for its origin indeed, but above all, for its taste. There we are. Drink responsibly. You find on the back of all of Diageo's products. Okay, well, we will get right into the nosing, okay? And before that, as you know, we will have a short, well, you may know, we will have a short advertisement, and what that does is to help me continue to offer these whiskey reviews. Okay, so that's going to happen right now. All right, hopefully that wasn't too annoying. Now let's get into the nosing. You know, every time you smell the same whiskey, you pick up different things now and again. That doesn't mean that each one of those is wrong. What it means is they're all right, and you just happen to be, your nose happens to be picking up one of those particular scents more than others on that particular day. And on this particular day, I'm getting a little bit more peat than I normally find in this bottle, in fact. So a very gentle peat wafting through there. And certainly some citrus, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of grapefruit. And there's a slight saltiness in there today. Interesting. Fruit-wise, there's an apple note in there. Kind of like a crab apple. And, well, to refer to my tasting notes, which I compiled over a couple days of tasting, I wrote here ripe pineapple. And here I wrote mild peat, and today I'm finding a little bit more than mild. And as you wait, there's a vanilla tobacco note that comes through. I know one fella out there who really enjoys vanilla tobacco, especially in the morning. His name's Dave. I wonder if he's watching. So it's funny, ripe pineapple, and then I find unripe kiwi note. So that's the kind of kiwi that when you put in your mouth, immediately makes your face flush with the sourness. And I wrote here that the vanilla tobacco increases with time. Quite an elegant nose. And it's funny, earlier today I was completely stuffed up and I was thinking I may have to wait until tomorrow or another day. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, so if I end up stopping and snorting, I do apologize. Yeah. You could really sit back with that and just smell it for about a half an hour and unravel all of the scents and fragrances that are coming out of this. Okay, we're going to have a taste. To the first 100 subscribers, a big cheers to you. And well, now I think we're up to about nearly 110. So the 10 who just started, I really do hope you enjoy. And if you're new to WhiskyWhistle and you'd like to subscribe, you can do so just by clicking on the little link, the little box there. You'll see my my face down there. So click on that one and you'll be subscribed automatically to the channel. Okay? So cheers to all of you. And a big thank you also to Miss Kay Fleming, who I believe is the person behind Glenkinchie Distillery, possibly the distillery manager. Although I think her role has increased in Diageo since then. Anyway, so if you are watching, thank you for blending this. It's a wonderful, wonderful whiskey. And again, cheers. Oddly enough, even on the palate today, I'm noticing a little bit more peat coming through. Interesting. This one really starts off sour. And the sweetness develops over time. There's a good maltiness to it. And what else have I written here? Fruit salad. And then you get a little bit of bitterness as time passes as well. It starts to get quite dry on the palate. And oddly enough, I've written here beef stock. So beef stock, what? It's salty, right? It's got some metallic flavors, right? The iron and so on. So there's a bit of a combination there that reminds me of a beef stock. And well, we'll try that again. And you know, I mean, you get crazy things sometimes when you sit down with whiskey and you take notes. I'll just mention this because it's kind of funny, but I wrote a record shop as one of the scents that I noticed on the nose. So that's odd. Today I don't get that. I did the last time. I'm gonna take another sip of that one. That fruit salad, it's got some cantaloupe in there. Very ripe cantaloupe. I've written here a little bit peppery, a little bit of heat, but not in a bad way. And the finish, again, today I wrote here mild peat smoke. Getting a little bit more peat coming in the finish today. I guess it's a peat day for me, I don't know. Barley malt. Quince. Quince is really popular here in Korea. It's generally made into kind of a tea, which looks like marmalade, but then you take that marmalade mixture and you throw hot water in there and you get a fruit, not really tea, like a tisane or whatever it's called. and fruit and nuts in the finish. Fairly well roasted nuts, so it gives you a little bit of bitterness, and prunes, dried plums, also. So that's interesting. Have one more little taste because this is a very nice whiskey. The mouthfeel, a little bit waxy, which again is interesting. It's different than just just a watery sort of mouthfeel. Now, when I bought this, which was about 6 months ago or so, might have been a little bit longer, I shared some with my father-in-law, and I think I've mentioned him before. He just had his 60th birthday not long ago, and we shared, we opened up his Johnny Walker, what is it called? Johnny Walker, the Casks edition. You can see that, I think, on review, maybe 30, 35, thereabouts. And he tried this one, and one of the first things he said was, "This is really sour." And, well, not everybody is a person who enjoys things that are not just simply sweet or, or smoky, because things that are smoky, smoked salmon, bacon, these things are quite popular. Sweet flavors, the touch of sourness, also quite popular. But you put something that's sour, maybe a little bit bitter, into someone's mouth, and they generally not crazy about it. Now, what I would say is try to cut out the sugar in your diet, or at least reduce it a lot. Try to find breakfast cereals that don't have added sugar. Throw in some fruit if you want some sweetness. But anyway, cut out that white sugar. And you may find that you start to enjoy the taste of foods that you didn't really like before. So you can try that if you're really wanting to explore all the flavors that you find in Scotch whiskey. Okay, we're going to try that with water. So I'm going to put in about 3/4 of a teaspoon, so about 3 or 4 milliliters into there, and we help that mix up a little bit by rolling it around slightly. Oh, interesting. We'll let that settle just for a minute. Something else I keep meaning to bring up that I want to share is, well, if you're getting ready to try to taste some whiskeys and you really want to experience all the flavors, this is the process that I would suggest. First of all, depending on what time of day it is, give your teeth a good brushing with not too much toothpaste, because toothpaste really that flavor lasts a long time in your mouth. So just a slight bit of toothpaste, or a very mildly flavored one. I think the basic Crest is a good one if you're American or Canadian. Don't know what's available in England or other countries, but something that's just that, very, very mild basic mint. And then afterwards, of course, rinse your mouth with lots and lots of water. Today, in fact, I flossed. I had some meat and some lettuce wraps for dinner, which is a very popular thing here in Korea. Try Korean barbecue and wrap that in a variety of lettuce. You'll really like it. But anyway, you got to floss because that meat really sticks in your mouth. So I flossed. And then a little while later, I brewed some coffee. And I had a cup of coffee. And with that, I had some chocolate, very dark chocolate, unsweetened or very lightly sweetened. And what the chocolate and the coffee does is just basically gets rid of any other sort of flavors that are still hanging around in your mouth. Anyway, so then you want to make sure you drink lots and lots of water to help flush the coffee away. And then basically what you've got yourself is a neutral tongue, and it's ready to try things. And possibly the hot coffee will also help open your nasal passages. I was a bit stuffed up earlier, and now I'm pretty well 100%. At least I was when we started the review. Anyway, so give that a try if you really want to explore the flavors in your whiskey. Okay. With water and thyme, that vanilla tobacco really, really comes out to play. There's still some herbs in there as well. Didn't mention the herbs in the nose originally, but they are there. Something between parsley and rosemary. What else did I write here? Caramel lemon, briefly, I wrote. And the ripe pineapple gets riper, or more ripe. Oh, I think I prefer the nose with water, in fact. Okay, and we'll try tasting that with a little bit of water added. Cheers, everybody. Definitely more sweetness comes through. So it shifted that sweet-sour balance to the sweet side. I'm getting some candied fruitness coming through. Candied fruit. You know, the kind that go into fruitcake. More malt on the finish. Everything else is still there. A little bit less of the peat I'm noticing now. Maybe even a touch of banana coming through on the palate with water. Isn't that nice? Well, marks. Let's talk about marks for Glenkinchie 12-year-old, the basic bottle from the Classic Malts selection. I've given this 89 out of 100. And some of you may think, hey, Mark, that's quite high for this. But you know what? Definitely, if this were 46% and stated as not chill filtered and no color added, this would definitely be well into the 90s. As a lowland distillery, I think this is something quite nice, and I think everybody can find something to enjoy in this. And if you prefer it a little bit sweeter, add a touch of water. If you like some smokier flavors, leave it neat, and you'll be able to pretty much please most people with this particular whiskey. The notes that I wrote for this, at first I didn't get the Scotch, and that's true. At first when I bought this, I took it home, I opened it, and I thought, oh, is something wrong with this bottle? I thought maybe that there was something quite unusual there, but what it was that certain kind of peat that they're using in combination with the malt, and I didn't recognize the scents. But anyway, I persisted, and what I write here is perhaps some time in the bottle. So open the bottle, leave it. Plus exploring other flavors of Scotch whiskey, and returning to Glenkinchie turned me definitely around to this whiskey. And I write here, I love Glenkinchie. Everything is familiar, but all is in balance. And I think that's where this whiskey wins. It's got such balance. And, again, I think it's a crowd pleaser. Now, as a lowland distillery, the lowland region whiskeys are generally known for triple distilling. However, Glenkinchie is, in fact, only distilled twice. So that's interesting. It's lowland, but there's a bit of diversion there from the lowland regional sort of style, and that doesn't mean that that it doesn't belong to the region or that they're doing something wrong or whatever. It's just different, in fact. And there are some distilleries that are not in the lowland region that do triple distilling. One of those is Springbank for their oh my goodness, Mark. Hazelburn. Hazelburn from Springbank is triple distilled. Okay, so the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Glenkinchie 12-year-old is 89 out of 100. Okay? Okay, I forgot to do another ad. I guess we'll put one right about now. I think that's too late. I think most of you may have tuned out by now, but that's okay. Let's talk a little bit about the history of this distillery. So 1837, George and John Raitt, they started the distillery. It's located near the Kinchie Burn, hence Glenkinchie, Glen next to the river, in Pencaitland, East Lothian. Okay, and quite possibly before it was known as Glenkinchie, this may have been the Milton Distillery, which is something that I read. And what else? 1853, they stopped production, and it looks like it stopped for quite a long time. 1890, it reopened under the banner of Glenkinchie Distillery Corporation Limited. Fast forward to 1917, production stopped again due to the conservation of barley for the purposes of being a staple for food. And 1950s, it looks like Glenkinchie was well known for the distillery manager who decided to take the spent grain and feed that to the cattle, and they really flourished on it. So that was interesting. So good way to reuse materials that are the the refuse from a production facility. And 1969, they stopped malting their own barley, and the malting floors have become a kind of museum. So that would be really exciting to go and see. There's a picture rolling around there of said museum. Well, this particular whiskey was basically used for blending until about 1989 when United Distillers, as I mentioned, United Distillers created the classic malts range. And well, now Glenkinchie, just like all the other classic malts, are readily available. You should be able to find that wherever you are in the world, I hope. If not, make sure you contact Diageo, who probably operate in your country, and ask them to get it in. There's no reason this shouldn't be wherever you are to be able to be enjoyed by all. Okay, anyway, so I guess that's about it for me here at Whiskey Whistle. Again, my name is Mark. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you'll join me next time. Please do subscribe. You can click down at the box below there and you will be subscribed, and we will see you next time. Cheers, everybody.